Ready? Yeah. Okay. My name is Jim Buliszak. I'm the training coordinator for Plum. And we sent out a number of questionnaires to find out what people wanted to have done in the training meeting. And I did, the first few we did had to do, if you know how it works, you can fix it. And I said it applies to cars and radios and whatever. So the deal was to show people how a radio works so they'll know how to fix it. So I had big block diagrams to show basically how the radio works, and on the other side I had the schematics of all the components inside. Then we did one on components. People want to know about resistors, capacitors, so I did a training session on that. Then we looked and found what else did people want to do. Somebody wanted to have soldering. So that's where we are today. So we're going to talk about soldering. We have a handout here. I'll kind of guide you through what we're supposed to be doing here. A little bit of information here in terms of background. I'm glad everybody brought a soldering iron. I didn't mention pliers, but I've got pliers here to take care of a number of people, so I don't have to worry about that. And a couple of important things about soldering, and I'll get into a number of different elements of it, but one of the first elements we have to talk about is if you're making a connection, it's important to make a mechanical connection. So if you're trying to connect, and I'll be passing these up. In fact, I'm going to pass these out right now. There. And you have some pliers. Okay, so if you want to, in making the connections, it's important that you make a mechanical connection.
We don't have any pliers.
We need some.
Okay, pliers. Thank you. Pliers. You have to have some pliers. Okay, so what you would have to do is make a mechanical connection to the part that you're trying to connect to. I'll show you how that's done. So if you take the component, put the component through the little opening, okay? Then you bend this thing over. And make a mechanical connection. So if I did this right, I'll put my glasses on. I have a better time of doing it. Make a mechanical connection there. Sometimes this is easier said than done. A very tight mechanical connection here. And it should be able to support itself. It should be able to, if you do this correctly, you should be able to have the radio work without putting any solder on it. Mm-hmm. Then you do put solder on it. Now, so that was the first step, the mechanical connections. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit because one of the real topics about soldering is oxidation. And oxidation happens naturally. If you take any type of product, particularly like a copper or steel, they're all going to eventually rust. They're all going to return to their natural state. So you have to make sure that particular, whatever you're soldering, your iron or your product is absolutely nice and shiny to put oxide on it. And it's important too, the irons are at 500, 600, 700 degrees. So if you have the iron already in perfect condition and you use it, then it's not going to take long before it's going to oxide again. You have to clean it up again. So how do you do that? Well, let's start with the irons first of all. I think we've cleaned up. Can you turn the irons on? Okay, turn the irons.
Mine was off. I think we were going to clean this one. Maybe it was.
Well, we're fine. Well, I'll just brush this and see what happens. And there are also different kinds of tips on these irons. So after it's reasonably clean, then we'll use a flux. And this flux, not already. Oh, it's not warmed up yet.
No, we just plug. It's not even on.
Oh, okay. we got it turned on. We're in business.
All right.
So let's wait. Does anyone have a warm iron? We got a warm iron. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take the oxidation off there again. It doesn't take long. This was shiny.
And that just turned on and rusted right away.
This is exactly right, and that's exactly the point. They'll oxidize normally, but they'll oxidize quicker with heat. We put it right in there, and that should be pretty good. We cut some solder. Oh no, I want to use my solder here, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You see how it's taking? I don't know if you can see that or not, but the solder, you can see the solder here is actually flowing all over the tip. In fact, you maybe have a little bit extra solder on there. So that you'll be able to solder with that for a while. Now what's going to happen eventually, that's going to burn off. We're going to have to scrape it up again. We put it through the flux that we have here and put some more solder on it. That's a beautiful iron. That's ready to go. Put this down. It's pretty hot. How are you doing here? We put the flux over. Oh, it's not quite warm enough yet. It's been on for a while?
Only like since you put the flux on the other one.
Okay,
so.
let's wait for a minute till it gets warmer. And is this one plugged in?
It's plugged in now, yeah.
It may not be hot enough yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, you can try it.
Is this one hot enough? Let's just clean it off, try to get it. See how nice that is now? Getting nice and shiny? Let's just put it through the flux here. Make sure it's okay. Put the solder on this. So this is called tinning. So we're tinning the iron, and this will allow us to melt the solder, will allow us to heat up the product that we're putting the solder on and melt the solder. So that's ready to go. By the time I go around to get it to using the probably, you all set?
What's the difference between flux and tinner fluid?
Probably the same thing. They tell you when you're soldering to wear goggles and mask and whatever. So for safety purposes, you have glasses on and all the others. Don't touch the iron because it's hot. Well, see how nice that is?
Nice.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we can put a little bit of solder on that too. This iron is a little bit. This iron is a little bit slow. Can you turn up the heat? Is that the control for the heat? Crank it all the way up there.
I think Ross said it doesn't work, the heat control.
Oh.
I think he said.
Okay.
But he said the soldering guy doesn't work.
Well, it does work. It's well, we'll see how it works. If this, let's put that back in there. If this doesn't, if it doesn't work, we'll get you another one. I'll put another one on. Okay, so we got the deoxidized. You know that as a function of temperature, oxidation is going to happen faster. So if you're using the iron for any period of time, you have to scrape the thing off and use it again. The other thing I'd like to bring up too is in older radios, these terminals will become oxided too. So again, you have to clean them up. They should be nice and shiny like that. This is a relatively new one. It should be nice and shiny. Make sure my mechanical. Next thing we're going to solder this thing, but typically I cheat and use these glasses because over time those glasses are strong. So I'm going to put this thing on and I'll crimp this thing, make a nice mechanical connection. I'll show you what it looks like, and then you can try to make a mechanical connection, and we'll try to solder it. So right now I'm trying to make that wire, that resistor on there nice and tight. So it's mechanically connect nice and strong. So I'll pass that around. You can take a look. And if you're trying to do this yourself, and as soon as you put the mechanical connection on there, give it a couple. So just try to put. Did you get to one of the terminals? Yeah, you got one of those things. So try to put it through the top hole. This hole right here. Yeah, and bend the wire over. I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, there you go. You're getting it. Now, you bend it over again so it's be nice and tight. Oh, you're good. And as soon as you get it nice and tight, you can get it tighter and squeeze it harder with the pliers. Squeeze it on there nice and tight. Very good. That's good.
Sorry.
Pardon? Oh, that's good.
Should I solder it on?
Oh, thank you.
You have two.
Thanks a lot.
Anybody else need pliers? Pliers? Also pliers. If you break them, I got a whole pile of resistors here. How you doing? Yeah, that's a really good job. That's better than what I did.
Thanks.
Well, that's a good one too. Fantastic. And this one here, yep. I tell you guys are professionals here.
We're prodigies.
I knew it all along. As soon as you walked in, I knew you were the prodigy.
They're actually ringers.
Well, that's okay. That's good. That's a good connection. That's perfect. Okay, now the next deal, let's check the irons. Make sure let's check the irons.
Iron check, huh?
Iron check, iron check. What color do you think that is?
Oxidized.
It's oxidized. It's 700 degrees and oxidized.
Where's the brush? Oh, here it is.
Okay, we got enough brushes to go around here. So let's just clean this thing off. See what happened? Look at that. So let's just put some solder on here.
So you only have to flux it at the beginning.
If it turns out that you are trying to solder something and it's not working, then I brush it and I flux it again. There you go. Now, you have solder? I'll tell you what. I'd like to have you use that solder. I'll tell you the solder story in a while. I'll show you how you can do it so it's really, really good. And there's other solders that are going to be difficult. So I'd like to have you do it the easy way with all the right solder and the right flux. There's flux. This solder is called Urson multicore.
I think I need to flux.
Okay, let's handle this. Let's see if we have another brush. See how this looks a little dull. See how shiny that is now? See how shiny that is? Okay, I'll tell you what. Now just take the iron here. Okay, I'm going to let you use some of this other solder.
I do have another one of those.
So put the solder iron right on the thing you're trying to solder right there. Okay? Put that up good.
Of course, that one will be really
As soon as it's heated, you should be able to put that on. Don't get too hot to the iron. Yep.
That's good. Should I put it on?
I tell you what, I'm going to get you another iron.
I'm gonna get you another iron to use. Shut that one up, attaboy. Get this one out of your way.
That was it was a little bit weak to start off with. I thought it might work, but I think you need more heat.
Generation of antique food radio techniques. Good.
You have to like the smell of solder.
See the napalm or solder, right?
Get this one out of your way
Yeah, let's set that on the
before I
way.
burn anyone.
What we'll do is we'll plug this guy in. This one here, we can turn the temperature on. And that temperature is coming up there. So we'll see if they get up around. When that reaches about 600 or 700, when it stops rising, let me know. And we'll brush this just a little bit. Do you have any luck over here soldering?
No, can you please look at her iron because we can't decide if it's oxidized or not. We were brushing it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't getting any cleaner.
Yeah, it doesn't. This is for what we're doing. I would say this is probably not the right tip. You'd like to have a chisel tip for some of this stuff. Let me try to.
It does have a replacement tip, so we'll see.
Like one of these?
Actually, I've got a chisel right there, I think. But it's not going to fit on here, I don't think. Oh, I see. You could unsolder it. I mean,
Stop
I think
rising.
so, but of course it's hot now, so.
well, you
It's
can
not
certainly
rising.
still that. Well, let this one cool off. See if we can repair that guy.
Excuse me. The number stopped rising now.
Stop rising.
That's good to know right there that
Okay,
I
so
have
let's
the
take-
wrong tip for my soldering iron.
Just put a bit of solder in here. Let's use this one. This is smaller stuff. Well, what I want to do is I want to use this solder here first. See how that's on there? Okay, now what you want to do, be careful with this. You want to put the iron on there, try to heat up that joint, and then we're going to put solder on it. Put it on flat so you get the heat out of the iron onto the joint. There you go. Wait a little while. Let's see if that's getting hot. Add a little bit of solder to this. See that solder's going on there? Okay, let's see if the joint looks hot. Looks pretty good. Let's do it again. Heat it up again. And put that solder. No, don't put the solder. Put the solder. Yeah, heat up the joint and then put the solder onto the joint.
It's not the right.
There you go. How you doing there? Oh, that looks pretty good. Let's see. Yep, take a look at that. Got a nice joint?
It's just a different kind of.
Actually, put this on the side. Put a little bit more.
On the other
Let
side.
me show you how to do this. If you just hold this, you see this flat side of the iron? You put the flat side on there and heat that up first. You can put some of the solder on there. This is small stuff. Put that right on the metal. Right on the metal. You see how that's flowing like water?
Yep.
You see how it's flowing like water?
Yep.
That's what it should look like. That's the solder joint. One success. How are we doing?
All right.
I got some,
It's not the right soldering tip, and I don't have more tips for this. So.
Well, I think let's take them apart. Let's see.
Well, I just took this out, but it's a long shaft. Yeah, just unscrew that. I'm sorry, I just had it apart. I would have left it that way.
Well, let's see what we got here. Is this still hot or what?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
It's not the right. It's a different.
It's a different set.
This is for this.
It's a different set. Okay. So I think what you probably want to do. I think what you want to do is probably set this one aside till we get the right tips on. I thought maybe
All right.
it would work, but it's not making it.
That's fine.
So
We got
the
others.
problem
We
with
could-
this iron is it has a
use
really
this one?
fine tip on it, and it's not really a good iron to use for what we're doing. We want to have a nice flat one so we get the most heat onto the joint, so the joint gets hot, and then we can put solder onto the joint. Oh, we are confused here, aren't we? I'll tell you what, let me just-
That's fine. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, you can, let's,
Look at all the reject irons already.
The pile
that's
of
part of the
misfit
exercise
soldering
here.
irons.
I don't have any more irons. But what we'll do, how's this one doing?
Hot.
What we can do, if we're not using this, let's turn this up. You already did, yeah. Yeah. If you take a look at this joint, you see how how it flowed across there?
Yep.
If everything's nice and shiny, there's no oxide on it, when you heat up the joint, put the solder will flow like water. If it's lumpy and either you don't have enough heat or there's oxidization on it.
Do you apply any flux to the surface you're soldering to?
Well, if I'm doing metal, if I'm trying to do metal, I had to solder bushing onto something, then I would put this particular, where's my flux? Here. I put this particular flux around it, and the solder will flow like water. There are other fluxes to use, and I'll get into that in a minute. But let's see if we can't do a joint over here. Is this soldered?
Oh, no, not yet.
No.
Oh, okay. Is this one working?
Yeah, but this one working in mine. Did you want to use that solder?
Well, let's do that in a minute. That's an old-fashioned. It doesn't have the silver in this one. I fell in love with this stuff. I mean, this is just so nice. It really looks so good. Okay, how is this one doing? This looks pretty good. We'll just do this a little bit. Put a little bit of solder on it. See how nice that is? Okay, now what you do? What you want to put the iron on the. Try that one. That's a little loose, but that's okay. Put the iron on there. Let me demonstrate it here, and then we can. You can do it yourself. Just put it down there. Okay, so we want to just heat up this piece of metal here. Oh, jeez. Yeah, pieces. We want to heat up this piece of metal. Just think hard enough. We want to add the solder to it. See how it's flowing? See how the flow just like water. See, just absolutely like water. That's a nice job. Did you get it?
I think I did.
Okay, good. So I tell you what. Looks good on the other side too. Try to do. I'd recommend you don't do that one because you're going to probably burn yourself.
Okay.
Like I got this piece of wood with the cable on it. Anyway, put another one on and try it yourself.
Okay.
Try to make a little mechanical connection. You want to do another one? Okay. Fire it up. But first of all, you should try to make a mechanical connection first. Then we can try to solder.
So try to put another one on here.
Yeah, sure, that's a good one. Excellent. We're going to use some pliers.
I have these for sale. If anybody's interested.
What's this?
They're tips for soldering. Soldering and desoldering.
What's a long one, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of iron does it go into?
I'm not sure. I don't hold up on them. I just looked them up. It's just soldering.
Yeah, I think we need shorter ones, though. It's a problem.
Okay.
Looks like a nice tip, though.
Yeah, they sell for a lot of money.
I bet they do. Yeah, it's
I
probably
guess it's cheap.
for special iron.
Yeah.
How are we doing? Getting the mechanical connection in?
Yeah. This might be a good example. This was a good charter, and then it's come loose and may show people how
This is not so good.
it really look good. Felt
That's
good.
not hooked on there. And you have trouble transferring heat to that. Now, would it work? It probably would, but it's still not right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Here's a Radio Club joke.
I couldn't resist. That's nice. So how are you doing here?
I don't have any solder, so
Oh, well, here. There you go. Check the iron. How's the iron? And not working so good, huh? Okay, try brushing it off. And a little dab of solder on it. That's nice. That's good. That's nice and shiny. Just a little dab of solder. See if the solder goes on there nice. Yeah, see how that flowed? It's just like water. Just like water. Now all you have to do is, you should be all set there. Now heat up one of those joints over there on your terminal. Put the flat part of the iron on the joint so you transfer the heat to it. There you go. When you think it's warm enough, just hot enough, just try to put in solder on there.
Like here?
No, you heat up the joint and put the solder on the joint. So you put the solder by the resistor there. Okay. Well, no, it's a little bit more heat. More heat, maybe a little bit more solder. But you see how that's flowing? It's just like water. There you go, you got it. That's good. That's a good joint. That's a good joint. You have to try one. You like that? I like it, yeah. Good. You see, and the solder was just the right temperature, all the way down there, so it flowed all over everywhere. It's a good joint. How you doing? Here's another one. Let's see.
So just got put on so like the event.
Just solder the other side. Maybe a little bit more heat. A little bit more solder. See how it's a little bit bare? That looks looking good. Both sides. Look at that. That's perfect. That's perfect. The prodigy, of course. You told me. Yeah. Okay. I think now that we have, I showed you the way I would do it with nice flux. This is this acid core or is this rosin? It says solder. Oh, it says this is probably rosin. This is probably usable, but to make your life easy, I would recommend if you're going to do any soldering, get this at Home Depot. It doesn't cost much, and it's got the silver in it, and it just makes life so easy. I've used that before, but I switched to this, and it's just absolutely great.
So the picture of it.
Okay. Now on solder, the solder that you're using is this. It's called Urson multi-core solder. It's got 5 cores of rosin in it, so it has an awful lot of flux. Some of these other solder. Let's see where some of the other pieces of solder that you had here. Okay, let's try. Oh, this is solid one. So there's no flux in this thing. This is for soldering pipes.
Okay.
And look at how big it is. And see, there's nothing inside it. It's just solid. So you try to solder with this, you'd have to use some type of other flux on it, which isn't as good as this other stuff that we have as Urson. So you'd use this for soldering pipes. Yeah. And you know, it's easy to solder, but it really isn't. How are we doing?
It's so hot now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, you know what? I think you need more heat because you have to
He's right. It's
solder
like too thick
flow.
to begin with.
It's off. Okay. Watch this. If you heat this some more, the solder will flow over the whole. See this here flowing down?
Want to see a perfect joint?
See this right all the way down, flowing all the way down here?
Oh,
That's
wow.
what you look like. What's right there?
Some flux I get.
Good rectangular
Need
connection?
a brush. We'll see if it-
Oh, sure. You want to? Well, I'll tell you what. Let me give you a new one here. Is it nice and shiny? Is that nice and shiny, that piece? Yeah, that looks good. How's it looking?
Well, she was asking if what the black stuff was, and I thought it was the burnt off flux. So I just
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the heat just did it. You see the little bubble on the back here. You probably see it was hot when you set down. When you got the bubble. Is this still on?
Yep.
See how the water? It's just soldering could look so nice. It's like a work of art almost. See there? Nice how that flows. You have to make sure you get enough heat on it, and don't move it while it's setting up. And that's a real nice joint. Now let's try something. Oh, let's try something different now. Let's try to take the solder off. Suppose you want to remove the. How would you remove the component from there?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to answer.
But you're the prodigy. I'm going to tell you you're the prodigy. Well, yeah, okay. Now, you would use this if you had a circuit board and it has a hole through it, called through hole. It had a hole through it. You have a component on there. Is this one compression ones? You push it down and it sucks the stuff out?
Yeah.
Well, you can do that if you have a circuit board. If you want to sort of takes it out of a hole in the area. It's a little bit different, a little bit more difficult to use that tool here. So what you would do, this is still hot? What you would do is you put this on here, and you see how the solder is going up the braid?
Oh, wow.
You're sucking it out.
What is that stuff?
This is wick, called solder wick.
Oh,
You
man,
see how
I've never heard of it.
You see how it's all coming out? you're going to get to the point, there's no solder on there, and what you're going to be able to do is just unwind that component. Well, we put a lot of solder on here, so, but that's how much solder.
Wow.
Now what you can do, I don't want to burn you. So what you can do is you can take a pair of needle nose pliers and unwind that. So that's the you may have to do a little bit more. You see?
Yeah.
You could maybe take a little bit more off.
Okay.
Now there are other kinds of that is called solder braid or solder wick, and there are other kinds of braid that you can get, and they don't have the flux in them. That has flux built into it. The ones that don't have the flux, you'd have to dip them into additional flux, which is kind of messy because it gets all over your hands and it's just difficult to deal with. How are we doing here?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Just something.
Oh, yeah, good job. Oh, you had none up on the back, huh?
Yeah,
Put a little bit more on the
I was
back.
just about to put the back on.
Oh, good. Oh, it's a little bit warm? Yeah, I know. I got a little bit to tickle myself,
To be
too.
able to,
Yeah, you can let it warm up a little bit, cool down. See, that's a good job there, too. There are various tools that you can use to help you do that. And I've got this special little tool with a hook on it that sometimes allows you to grab it. Is this, or are you just putting that one on?
no, I was taking it off.
Oh,
I mean, I don't need to take it off, but
well, you mean you unsoldered that already?
yep.
That's what you want to do.
I've never seen this before. It's really
Well,
nice stuff.
you know, as I said, you can buy all sorts of different solder braid. You can buy this stuff, which is cheaper. Then you're going to have to put the flux on. So what you're going to have to do, if you want to, you can try using some of this stuff. But what you're going to find is you're going to have to take it and you're going to have to put some flux on it. Now it's going to work fine. I get tired of doing that. That's the reason I use this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah, I would not
This is an
recommend.
interesting package.
Well, it's
Oh, it's several
I
packages.
stick them all together. I don't want to lose them.
Okay.
And there's some real small ones for real small work and bigger
Oh, is
ones.
that what? So it's different widths for.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Depending upon the work that you are doing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Is it copper?
Yes, it's copper braid. How's your iron? Does your iron have to be defluxed to keep the iron?
Probably.
You see, when you have trouble, when it's not working right, what you have to do, you have to go through and you got to, it's a little.
So it sounds like you should do that after every
Well,
solder.
often. You have to do it often. But what you end up doing, if you do it when it's not working, that's when you do it. So, just in case, hit a bit of flux. Solder on here. You there? Try that now. How we doing?
I'm gonna just put the back on.
Oh, good. Good job. You're an expert now, right? Okay. Second solder?
Yeah, suck all that up.
Oh, good. Try to put the flat side of the iron totally on the work, so that way you transfer the most heat. If you just put the point on, then you don't transfer much heat.
Right.
You going? You got it?
It went a little bit more, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, what else do we have to do here? These are yours?
Yes. Only did that one.
Yeah, see, this one flowed nice, see? That was a little bit,
A little
color's a
lumpy.
little bit funny, and that flowed really nice. So what you want to do when you're done with the joint, you look at it and say, did the solder flow like water and it make a nice connection? If it's a little bit bumpy, and you see that there's not much on that side, which probably means that there wasn't enough heat on it.
Mhm.
A little bit more heat and a little bit more solder will do that. And your iron's on?
Yes.
How does it look?
Definitely. Probably using brush.
What? Okay. Well, here, do it yourself. Go ahead. How are we doing here? Okay?
Can I have another one of these?
Oh, sure. Oh, another resistor? Sure. Here they are. Yep. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't have to put it on. Just a little bit of. That's yeah. There, you see how that is? Oh, it's really nice. Heat it up good. Put it on it. Put it on it. Heat it up good. And then, if you put a little bit of it still didn't flow. Mm-hmm. So put the iron on there. Okay, now I'm just going to put the solder there. You have to put the solder on the iron. Heat it up good. A little bit more. Okay, that's good. I see that's a pretty decent joint there.
No, go ahead.
The solder we're using is 60-40. It's 60% tin and 40% lead. And that's what's recommended for use in radio work.
60-40.
60-40. And you'll find almost any solder that you will buy will be 60-40 if it's solder that's used for radios. Let's say radio solder. There's solder that you don't want to use called acid core, and that's used for plumbing. So if you were to put two pieces of plumbing together, they're nice and shiny, put them together, you put an acid flux on it, and you put the solder on there, and it'll flow again. I mean, it just, as soon as it hits there, it just flows. If everything's done, if the temperature's right, and the material is nice and shiny, no oxidization on it.
Do you have a pen? I want to write down what you said about the solder, the 60-40.
Oh, it's on here.
It is?
Yeah, number 10. I kind of jumped right into it, and I think we'll review it afterward. Okay. But I think the best way to do this is not to read it, is to actually get in there and take the iron and do it. Oh, it didn't work right. What did I do wrong? Yeah. So it's a hands-on type of thing.
Yep.
You can talk about it theoretically and read about it in the book, but until you lift up the iron, it's not the same. Doing okay? Okay, good. You got the best one in the crew here.
Yeah, I need some flux though.
So you want some flux, so we have to do some flux. There you go, that's good. Perfect.
Ooh, that looks nice.
Yeah?
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. This is about how much solder you need to make the connection.
Yeah.
But typically...
Not a big glob.
Not a big glob. And typically, if someone were to solder to fill up the hole and fill up everything, it's a waste of solder. And it's not unnecessary. And if you have to take it apart, you got to pull all that solder out. If you notice when we're using the braid here,
yeah, I
had to go that far and pull all that solder back out again.
Yeah.
That's all you really need. That's a nice connection. That's a really nice connection. Well, can we show this? I don't think. Let's see what you got here.
See, you got here. Let's see what goes back some. Okay, I think I have it there, sir.
Good. It's a really nice kit. There's not too much solder on it. The color is nice. It looks like the solder flowed on it very well. How are we doing?
I
think you
okay. Yeah, that one. I don't know about the color.
We're going to try to take them off, huh?
Are you taking them off or putting them on?
Probably take that one off.
Oh.
Try that out.
Take this one off. I tried it so well. It's really hard.
Okay. Everything did up to that point was good until when we slowly moved it. So as soon as you heat it up, lift your joint, and then just make sure it's nice and okay. Now don't move. Pull the soldering iron off. I'll put some more solder on it. Okay. And after that point, you're all set. Okay, now just don't move it, because what will happen is while it's cooling, if you move it around, you're not going to have a good joint. You want to have that solder in there, make it nice and tight. And if you move it around while it's cooling, you're going to have a poor joint.
So should I take this?
I think it's good. Looks good. Yeah, you did a good job there. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good. Yeah.
Can I just give you
Yeah, see,
my observation?
these are good too. These, you know,
This doesn't get
as I
hot.
said before, some people put
You know, you have such a
solder
long
on it. You don't need it.
history
You just
of
need enough
struggling getting it.
around the material and the resistor here. Some people put a whole lot of solder. In fact, I joke with people. I think the reason a lot of radio companies were broke is they lost their whole budget on solder. I'll go in there and take a radio. I use about this much wick for all the solder. They don't need that much solder. So you have your trouble now, and you have to work the iron. You have to redo the iron.
No, I think it was
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was okay.
But put it flat on there. Put the tip. Oh, there you go. Now that's flowing. Nice. Yeah, that's flowing. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
There you go.
That's a nice joint.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice joint.
Well, if the prodigy
That's
says that,
professional.
if the
That
prodigy
is
says it, must be right, then.
That is a pro job.
Put it on there.
Just
Put it on there. Sure.
Well, let's get a close up. All right, got you in there as well. Guess we'll be grading everything when we look at the video afterwards.
Everybody gets A's.
Well, there'll be a cap and gown ceremony afterwards.
So does the instructors.
Oh, okay.
It's like Jake with a mullet.
My eyes are.
Turn toward me. Okay.
Got it tight? What you want to do, rather than twist it, you want to bend it over. So rather than twist this thing, I'm sure you want to bend it over this way. You want to come here, you want to go through there, and if you're really lucky, you'll run through the hole again. But you want to make that nice and tight on there like that. That's pretty good there too. We have an industrious crew here today. I mean, everybody's busy doing their stuff.
These little lines mean something. He tried to the lines mean sort of where you read
He didn't
yellow
do
mean
it.
it's a certain.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
Like there's a
this is three.
yes, are we think we have the same?
Get your finger, it's going to be hot. Get your finger too close. There you go. That's right. It's easy to put your fingers on it. It's not a good idea.
I never heard about the core.
It's Urson. It's called Urson Multicore.
So
been
do they
around-
still make this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mark, could you look up Urson Multicore?
I do have it marked on eBay. You can buy rolls just like that. Have the bigger sort of rolls like that.
Yeah, and I guess I should bring this up too. Depending upon the size work will determine the size iron you need. I brought this one around as an example. If you're doing big work, like on a chassis or something, you need a lot of heat. This will do. It has a lot of thermal mass to it. There's a lot of heat on this. You can put it on there and you can do your soldering. If you take a small iron like that, try to do it. You won't melt the solder.
On the chassis, you mean?
On
Because the
the
chassis
chassis.
sucks up so much heat, you're saying?
Yes. In fact, we had a situation recently where we were taking out a capacitor. Luckily, the capacitor had the ears bent over. And luckily enough, it was off to the side. So I had a little torch, one of these little torches. Took the torch, it melted in no time, and lifted up the ears and pulled it out. So depending upon how big the job is, how big what you're trying to solder, you may need a big one. In fact, I was at Collins Radio once, and the ladies are building radios, and they do building it like this. They got the huge iron in there, and they were excellent at doing it. But for most work, these irons are about the right size.
Yeah.
Radio work, circuit board work, these are about the right size irons. Then you have the tip, different size tips. You have the chisel tip, and you have a pointed tip, and the chisel tip or the 4-point tip is about, I think the chisel tip is probably the best because you can get that under a component if you want to lift it up. Put the chisel under it and lift the component up.
Right.
That's the Prodigy. If he says it's okay, it's okay.
That's good.
Good.
You wouldn't dare say otherwise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you see, use just enough solder on here. And as I said, most people would fill this whole thing up with solder, and you don't need it. You have to take it off. Now you got to go through this much wick to pull all the solder out. It's just painful. But you see this nice connection? Yep. I think everybody's doing a good job here.
Sorry so much.
Well, it's okay, you know. You know, so next time, that's not bad. It's maybe a stick, but you know, as long as you have enough on there and you have the right heat, that's it. If you put on too much solder, well, maybe you could have done it differently. As long as the solder flows, you get the heat and the good mechanical connection, that's all you need.
Are soldering guns pretty useless?
Oh, no, I use this again. If I were to be doing a job, I start with that unit there.
Yeah.
Then if it doesn't have enough heat, I use a 100 to 125 watt gun. Then if that doesn't work, I have a 200 watt gun. If that doesn't work, I use this. If this doesn't work, I gotta use the torch, the handheld torch. But you got to be careful.
So the gun is a little hotter, you say?
Oh yeah. It's 100. Well, you can get these. I think this is watts. Is this? This is. I don't know. Maybe 50, 60, 70 watts. The guns are going to be 100 to 125. The bigger gun is going to be around 200 to 225. And then you move up. And the good thing about this, see, the gun doesn't have any thermal mass. All it's got is a little wire going up. So it's hot. You put it on something that's cold. You get this thing hot. You put it on. So it's going to take a while for this to cool down. So depending on what you're doing determines the size iron that you have to use and the size solder too. If you're doing a big job, you want to use the big solder.
Yeah.
If you're using a small job, you want to use the small solder.
That makes sense.
Yep. That's okay, you know. It's a little bit too much. You did it. These joints, no, those are just right. But you know, if you put too much on, we'll use the wick and we'll take it off. Right? How we doing? You want to try to take the solder off now? Let's do that. Let's get the solder wick.
It was over.
Right over here. I guess. Well, we could use that, but again, if we use this, there's no flux on it, or if there is, it's kind of weak. So what you end up having to do is use the flux. Use this flux here. So you have to take the flux out. You got to paint the braid here with the flux, and you get it all over your hands, and it's just plain messy. Or you can take this. Sometimes before if I do a circuit board, sometimes this come on a brush. Yeah, it comes on a brush. So what
that's
I would
like
do,
an acid, right?
well, no, it's rosin.
Rosin.
That's right. So I would brush that on the circuit board, and then that's going to help you desolder the thing. Plus this braid.
Okay.
If you're using this stuff here, it's all in there. This is really good stuff. It's taken me a while to stumble onto this, but it's good stuff.
Where do you buy that? Can you get that at a normal hardware store?
Well, I buy this on eBay.
eBay. Okay.
It's NT. You got to get in again. It's the size. You know, they make the smallest. They can be smaller than this or bigger than this. So if you're doing really small work, you want a smaller size. This is a good size for most work that we do. And the size is right on here. This one is NTE number SW, whatever that is, 2-50. It's 50 feet. There's SW2.
I think I should take a picture
Yeah.
of that if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah. No solder's going to get on that. That's something you can't. This is steel. You're not going to be able to solder to that. So the solder will, if it may stick on there, you just push the thing right off. So we all set here? Okay, let me show you. Take this solder wick. Oh, you get your picture?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Here, try putting that on there, and putting the iron on there. See if you can suck the solder out. Put it flat. Put the braid first. Put the braid on first. Put it on there. Okay, now put the soldering iron over the braid and touch the metal. Take it easy. Just take a minute to heat up. Let me see if we have to redo this. Yeah, okay. Let's just brush this. So we want to take off all the oxide that's on there. Old solder. Put a little bit of this flux on here. Clean it up. Make sure it's good. There you go. Okay, try that again. There you go. Put it flat, yeah. There you go. Just line it up. Put that right on there. There you go. Let it sit for a while. Let's see something. If you put this on here like this, see how flat that is? Is the flat side on? The flat side has to go right on there flat.
It was on the flat side.
It wasn't? See how that's sucking out? You see how it's all going up the braid? You try a little bit more, but be careful, this is going to be hot. Use a part that doesn't have any solder on it. Right over here, like that. Try that. Try that piece. There you go. Hold that right on there. That braid's going to get hot, so. See it starting to suck out?
Yeah.
So you suck all the solder out of that joint. Now you can take that resistor out of there if you want. See that? Just a little bit of solder left on. That's going to be hot. See how all that came out? See how clean that is? You can almost avoid that. That's a little bit hot. That's a nice tip now. It's really nice. I got some flows going on here. I'm tired. How we doing?
I just need this to heat up because it was going down.
I'll keep that button there, yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. I never heard most of those instructions.
Yeah, they, you know,
You better learn now and use them because you're gonna go.
Well has been in the soldering business for I don't know how long. I think we were the first people ever did anything on soldering, and I've fallen onto that one. In fact, I got it. I treated myself. I've been using all these other little irons like those. In fact, I use that one. I think it's either this one or one that looks like it. It just, I got to the point where I said, it's got to be something better. Yeah. And I use that one over there, and it's really, really nice. It's temperature controlled. You can set it up to 700 or 500. Whatever. I keep it up pretty high normally, but it's a really nice unit. And they're available on Amazon.
That's my gun as a weller.
Yeah.
I'm soldering.
Yeah. In fact, if you put the order into Amazon right now, it might be at home when you got there. Yeah. Amazon's amazing. You know, you order it, and it's almost there instantly.
That one came from, you know, you do it electronics.
Oh yeah.
That's where I got that one. But I think it's their brand. Is there a brand name on that?
Probably. What's it say? Warning is their name.
Warning.
It's a model, yeah. Elinco. Elinco makes some of that. I don't want to touch anything here. It could be high.
That's not on.
Probably
That's
isn't.
the one we deemed to.
Yeah, I could have brought some more tips. I probably have some.
This is cracking.
I
I just noticed that today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
This is the wrong tip anyway. You really
Yeah.
want the chisel tip.
All right.
Second, it would be this one here. But the chisel tip is nice because as I said, you can get under a component, lift it up, and you can have a lot of heat transfer with the chisel tip.
We just ordered him a beginner's kit, just a beginner's kit.
This is what you're talking about?
We can still cancel it. if you-
That's like a chisel.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in there I don't think you're going to use. You know, if you want the magnifying glass thing and
It's only
It's not
$29.
the chisel, he said that's second.
yeah, well, I think you're going to probably get what you pay for.
Yeah, I know it.
And I think this is around 100, I don't know, 100 and some dollars, 120 some dollars. But it's a real good unit. I mean, this is going to last a long time. It makes your life easy. You know, you get these, and sometimes these foreign things come with the tips that you almost can't solder.
Yeah.
You almost make the tip out of something solder won't stick to.
You get what you pay for.
So, yeah, that's what, you get something like this, and Well's going to be around forever. If you need a new tip, you need a new whatever, you can get it from Well.
Sure.
I think it
I'm gonna have to order. I'm gonna have to
I was
order
able to undo this. I was able to take this out.
Oh, that's a great job. See, that's the whole idea. If you could solder it, and if you put it on mechanically, if you could use the braid to take it off, peel the thing, good job. Good job. I think everybody's done all the work. We did the soldering, the desoldering. Let's just go through the checklist and see if we get everything done here. I talked about the oxidation, about cleaning all the components, and matching the iron. You know, you can big work, big iron, small work, small iron. Oxidization. Something that, and you're going to hear conflicting comments on how you should do this. Some people say if you have a component you cut off, suppose you remove this component and you have this wire sticking out of the radio. They say you should put a hook on it. Put a hook here. Put a hook on the new component. Hook them together and solder. And I'm saying, I don't do that. I would use a soldering wick, unsolder the connection. That's the one. Unsolder the connection, peel it off, you put a new component in the mechanically connected soldering. I mean, that's the real professional way to do it. People want to do it different ways, and different people have different ideas on how to do it. I wouldn't do that. So I'm recommending that you don't use these hook type of connections. So we talked about transferring the heat. We transfer the heat from the flat side of the iron, and the solder flows like water. 60-40 solder, and I mentioned Urson. And inspect the joint. You know, you've all been doing that. You put, I put too much solder on there, didn't put enough solder on there. We've talked about that. And we did removing of the components by desoldering. And that's probably about it. I think everybody did a really good job. Everybody's able to solder. I saw the solder float on there. Got just enough. Sometimes you get too much. We either leave it on there or take it off. Doesn't matter. As long as you get enough. The joints are nice and warm, nice and hot. Solder float, mechanical connections. He's still working on it. So I think that's about all I have. If anybody has any more questions, you can certainly answer them. Again, I would recommend, these are recommendations I have since I've been doing this for a while, and I wouldn't buy anything but this, and I wouldn't buy anything but the Flux here, Yoatley. Open, you can get at Home Depot. Make sure it's the right stuff. It's not acid. The acid would be for pipes. You do pipes, you put the acid stuff on them, and you hit it with heat it up, and the solder flows beautifully. But that's for that. Acid core will destroy a radio because it'll eat away at the wires and cause all sorts of problems. So you want to make sure it's rosin core solder. And I think that's about it. I think everybody did a really good job.
Thank you very much. This was very insightful.
This is something you can. I could explain this to you. Unless you took the iron and did it, it wouldn't work.
I'm like that anyway.
This has got to be a hands-on
Do you want
thing.
to shut that off now? Or?
Pardon me?
I just told him to shut that off.
Yeah, I had shut it off.
Oh,
We're
okay.
all set. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. And, here's another thing too. You know, I see people have the iron on all day. Well, if you have the iron on all day, you're going to be brushing it, or you're going to pick it up, and it's going to have to be cleaned up and refluxed. I normally shut the thing off now. That's a habit I've gotten into because I don't want to have to be refluxing. If I do a joint, it'll be a while before I do another one. I'll shut the thing off. These things do go down in temperature. They go down to, 300 degrees. But you're still going to have a lot of oxidation at 300 degrees. So.
Can we help you pick up anything? Or?
Oh, no, we'll just throw it all in the box here. But thank you all. You all did a great job, and glad to see we had a good. And it's nice to have a small group. You know, if we had 50 people, there would be a real problem. We wouldn't have enough electrical outlets for starters.
I just want to make sure these are mine, not yours.
Yeah, those are yours.
Okay.
And again, what I didn't do is I didn't test your solder. You're going to try to go home and do that solder. It may not work the way it did here. Well, you can try it, you know, and I was going to have people try it and demonstrate if it's going to work or not, but if you really want to do it right, you got to get the right stuff. You got to get the right
Well,
parts.
thank you. It's very informative. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Enjoy it very much.
Glad to help out.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
Did a good job. Good job.
And thank you, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.